This episode of Beyond the Backyard is brought to you by Ultimate Archery and Outdoors, Ultimate Deer Products, Head to Tracks Incorporated, Red Life Food Plot Seed Company, Tacticam, Jay's Sporting Goods, and by Oz Cut Broadheads. Welcome back to Beyond the Backyard, the podcast where we dive deep into the topics that get hunters talking, sometimes debating, and always thinking about the future of our outdoor tradition. I'm your host, Steve, and today we're going to be talking about a hot-button issue, the use of crossbows during archery season. Now, I want to make something clear to you right from the start. I'm not here to tell you what's right or wrong. My stance is simple. I believe every hunter should use what weapon allows them to be the most ethical. If it's a compound, great. If it's traditional stick, more power to you. And if it's a crossbow, then that's the right choice for you. But make no mistake, this is one of the most controversial topics in the hunting community right now. You'll hear like it's cheating, or it's unfair, or that it's even ruining archery season. On the other side, you'll hear words like accessible, inclusive, practical. So let's unpack this, take a look at where this debate comes from, and what it means for hunters today. Now let's start with a little history. Crossbows have been around for centuries, used in warfare and hunting long before compounds even existed. But when it comes down to modern hunting regulations, crossbows really started making their way into archery seasons in the early 2000s. In a lot of states, Michigan included the original rule of crossbows was like for legal hunters with disabilities or mobility issues. The idea was that these hunters deserved some same opportunity to enjoy archery season as everybody else. And honestly, that made sense to just about everybody. But here's what happened. Crossbows started gaining popularity fast, manufacturers saw the opportunity, and more states loosened restrictions. Not only crossbows weren't just for hunters with disabilities anymore. Sales skyrocketed. Crossbows went just from a niche product to one of the biggest drivers of archery gear sales in the outdoor industry. And that growth wasn't just about money. It was about license sales. States realized that allowing crossbows during archery season could slow down the decline in hunter numbers. If grandpa could still get out to hunt with a crossbow, if a kid had a bad success, if a busy parent didn't have hours to practice with a compound, that means more hunters buying tags, and more hunters means more funding for conservation. Now here's what it really heats up. Traditional bow hunters, the guys and gals shooting longbows and recurves, they argue that crossbow isn't archery at all, and even a lot of compound guys feel the same way. Their point is this: with a compound, you got to put a lot of hours in practice. You got to draw when it's the moment of truth. You got to hold steady. Sometimes you have to hold it back for a couple minutes because you back too soon. And there's a challenge, and that challenge is what part that makes archery season so special. Crossbows, on the other hand, are cocked ahead of time, have a trigger like a gun. They're easier to shoot accurately with very little practice, and to some people, they seem like that cheapens the tradition. They also tell you that crossbow hunters allow longer shots, 50, 60, even 70 yards. Now, whether or not that's a wise decision, that's a whole other conversation. But there's a fear that a higher success rate combined with longer range will lead to more deer being killed earlier in the season. And that could impact herd management. Now, on the flip side, let's be honest. A lot of hunters see the benefits. Crossbows make it possible for more people to be successful. They lower the learning curve. They reduce the wounding rates because hunters are more accurate. And at the end of the day, isn't that the goal? You know, we're looking for a clean, ethical kill and meat in the freezer. No matter what you use, if you're a guy that goes out there with a compound and you never practice, you only pull your bow back the day before season, and you think, okay, it's good, and then you never shoot again, shoot a deer. In my eyes, what is more ethical? I'm asking you, would you rather have a person in the woods that is deadly from 40, 50 yards with a crossbow, or would you rather have that same guy that never shoots his compound go out there and take a whim shot at it because he found it was sighted in 3 months ago? What, in your opinion, what would you rather have in the woods as far as a hunter? Now, here's where I want to share my personal stance. To me, it's not about the tool. It's about the hunter. I've seen guys with compounds wound deer year after year because they never practice. I've seen hunters with traditional bows who can drop a buck at 20 yards with absolute precision. I've seen hunters who switched to cross because their shoulders can't take the draw weight anymore, and then suddenly they were making perfect, ethical shots again. That's what it's about to me, is ethics. If you can't pull back a compound bow consistently, then you probably shouldn't be hunting with one. If a crossbow makes you confident enough to put an arrow exactly where you want it to go, then that's the ethical choice for you. Hunters love to sit there and argue about tradition. But let's remember, it's about fair chase, respect for the animal, and making clean kills. That is what's the foundation for hunting, not the shape of the bow in your hands. Okay, so what about the impact on the herd? That's a fair concern. Some people say that allowing crossbows during archery season is going to wipe out the deer before rifle season, but the data doesn't exactly back that up. What crossbows have done is shift the number of harvests earlier. Deer that might have been shot in November, during gun season or sometimes shot in October with a crossbow. But overall, the harvest numbers haven't exploded in a way that's damaging to the herd. What's interesting is the states with crossbow seasons often report better hunter participation. That means more people buying licenses, more money for conservation, and more people staying engaged in the hunting tradition. Think about it this way. Would you rather lose hunters altogether because they can't pull back a compound, or would you rather keep them in the woods with a crossbow? For me, the answer is simple. Keep them hunting, keep the numbers up, keep the traditions going. Look, we've already got anti-hunting groups constantly trying to shut us down. Do we really need to fight each other about what we're using, whether that's a crossbow, a compound, a recurve, a longbow? We're all still hunting. We're all still trying to put venison on the table. We're all still part of this tradition. If anything, we should be focusing on recruiting new hunters, mentoring kids, and making sure hunting stays alive for the next generation. Fighting over equipment only weakens us as hunters. So here's my final thought today. Hunt with whatever makes you feel the most ethical. If you love the challenge of a stick bow, awesome. If you've mastered your compound, keep at it. If a crossbow gives you the confidence to make a clean, one-shot kill, then that's the right choice for you. The controversy around crossbows isn't going away anytime soon. But if we can keep our eyes on the bigger picture, respecting the animal, managing the herd, and keeping hunters in the field, I think we can find a common ground on this. Thanks for tuning in to Beyond the Backyard. If you've got thoughts on this, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Do you think crossbows belong in archery season? Do you think they should have their own separate season? Let us know in the comments. Hit that sub button. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our episodes. And as always, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Beyond the Backyard.